that with adequate reasoning, when we have a proper reasoning, then only we can know about the truth of the rope. So here the truth of the rope means the truth of reality. What is reality actually? When I see the world, I see it real. But this reality is not reality. It's apparent reality. It's the reality which is seen by my eyes. But when I go beyond my senses, or when I see the world through the eyes of my wisdom or knowledge, then I see that this world does not exist. The only thing that exists is consciousness. So, whatever I see, it is apparent reality, it's not true. So, how to move from this apparent reality to absolute reality? The only way to move from apparent reality to absolute reality is discrimination. When I can discriminate my thoughts, each and every thoughts, when I can analyze my thoughts, I can only know the thoughts when they come to me. But I do not analyze them from where they have come. What is the cause of these thoughts? We don't analyze this. So when we analyze this, then what is the cause of my one given thought? Suppose I have one thought. And what happens when the thought comes? I start to drift along with the thought. The thought comes and I drift along with the thoughts. But here it says that you should not be carried away by the thoughts. You should stop and you should try to analyze it. Discriminate. What is this thought? What is the object of this thought? And why did this thought come to me? You should always discriminate. And from where did it come? So when you engage yourself in this pursuit to see the origination of the thought, you see that the thought originated from consciousness. The thought is an effect of that consciousness. It's an effect, it's not the cause. But I think that this thought is a cause. The cause is the consciousness. So when I go behind the thoughts, gradually I reach to that state of absolute consciousness, and that is the reality. And when I see that absolute consciousness, then I see that there is nothing called world. The world is not true. The world is not true. The truth of this world is also consciousness. The world that I see is not true. It's not the reality. The reality of this world is this, that it is also consciousness. So this is what I experience when I reach that state of absolute consciousness by discriminating my thoughts, by judging, by analyzing. So when I reach the reality of consciousness, of this world, that is consciousness, that means I have reached the reality of rope. The example that Vedanta gives us is this, that in the dark there is a rope, and when you see the rope, you think that this is a snake. This is because of delusion. Because of delusion, you think that this is a rope, this is a snake. And because you have seen the snake, you fail to see the reality of the rope. But how to see the reality of the rope? By discrimination. By proper discrimination. So when you discriminate your thoughts or your mind, then you reach the reality of your mind, and the reality of your mind is the self consciousness. Yan manasana manute yena hu manomatam, which the mind cannot comprehend. He is the self whom the mind cannot perceive, but from where the mind has originated. The mind has taken birth from that consciousness. So when you discriminate your thoughts, you reach that state of consciousness. And when you reach the state of consciousness, what happens is, all the mental distortions that you had, like fear, sufferings, all the mental distortions, frustration, depression, envy, jealousy, greed, lust, these are all mental distortions. When you reach that consciousness, and when you experience that you are that consciousness, when you identify yourself with that consciousness, then you see that all this mind and the effects of the mind, that is fear, greed, lust, envy, jealousy, anger, these are not there. They are also not there. They also don't exist. So you get rid of all this instantly. So this is what it was said in the earlier verse, that when you discriminate properly, then you know the reality of the rope. And when you know the reality of the rope, then the fear of snake vanishes. Snake is fearful. So the fear of the snake has gone. How? When I know that this is not a snake, this is a rope. So when I know that I am the self, I am consciousness, I am Chidananda Rupaham, Shivaham, I am Shiva, I am knowledge, I am bliss, I am birthless, I am deathless, I am formless, I am attributeless, I am devoid of all mental distortions. I do not have any vibration, I am vibrationless, I am motionless, I am one without a second, I am infinite, I am the truth. So when I know this, then I get rid of all the sufferings. And this is the only way to get rid of our sufferings. So now, the next verse. Arthasya nishchayo drishto vicharena hito hita na snanena na danena pranayama shatena va. It says that when you go to the master, a master who is adept in this knowledge, a master means a person who is established into this knowledge, and a person who knows the way by which he can lead you towards this knowledge. When you go to the master and when you listen from him, in details, elaborately, clearly, because the master always talks about his experience. He doesn't talk about the book. He doesn't talk about text. Whatever he says is his own experience. So when he talks about his experience, he infuses that experience, that power within our heart. He infuses the seed of knowledge within our heart. And that seed of knowledge, at one time, it grows and becomes a tree and bears fruits. And thus we get enlightenment. So when I go to a master and when I listen to him elaborately, patiently, with faith, calmly, silently, then only the teachings, then only these words of the scriptures, they become they become reflected into my life. They manifest within me. That is the time. If I just merely go and take a dip in the Ganga, nasnanena. Here in India we take a dip in holy rivers. So only by going and taking a dip in holy rivers, or danena, or by charity, or by pranayama shatenava, or by pranayama, this breathing exercise. If I can do it, if I do it for hundreds of years, then also I will not realize the truth of myself. Then also I will not experience who I am. The only way to experience this is to go to a master and listen from him. Listen from him the knowledge of myself, my existence. Who am I? And when I listen from him, then only the teachings they manifest within me, and I also get enlightened. Okay. Adhikarina ma shaste phala siddhir visheshata upaya desha kaladya sanyasmin sahakarina. He says, the only way to realize the self, is to be qualified. One has to be qualified because this is the knowledge of the absolute. This is the absolute knowledge, and this is the knowledge after which there is nothing to know, there is nothing to achieve. This is absolute accomplishment. This is absolute knowledge. So for this you have to be qualified. What do you mean by quality? Who is qualified to know about this self? To know about this consciousness? Who is qualified? The one who has the desire to know. A seeker. A true seeker. A true seeker is the only person who is qualified to know the truth. There is no other way. Nobody else can know about it. Nobody else can know about it. If you do not have the urge, genuine urge within yourself, if you do not have the genuine urge within yourself to know the knowledge, then you will never be able to know. Even if you have, Lord Shiva as your guru, then also it will not be possible for you. So we have to genuinely seek this knowledge. To whom? To myself. I have to seek this knowledge unto me, because this knowledge does not belong to any other person. This knowledge does not come from the outer world. This knowledge does not come from somebody else. This knowledge is within me. That knowledge is manifested. The words of the Master, they remove the ignorance. They don't manifest the knowledge. The knowledge is already manifested. Like there is always the sun. There is always the sun. Even if I don't see the sun because of the clouds, then also there is sun. There is no way that we can make the sun rise because the sun is already there in the sky. What can we do to see the sun? The only thing that we can do is to remove the clouds. When the clouds are removed, the sun is seen. In the same way, this knowledge of the self is always manifested. It's always there. It's always present. Why do I not see this? The only reason is this, that this knowledge is covered by ignorance. Ignorance. What is ignorance? When I identify myself as a body, that is ignorance. I cannot identify myself as this knowledge. This is ignorance. I identify myself as this body. I identify myself as mind, as intellect, as ego, as somebody of this world, as a human being, as a jiva, as a living being. who is subject to birth and death. So when I identify myself as, when I identify myself like this, that I am a jiva, I am a birth and I have to die. I have attributes, I have a form, I have qualities, I have an age, I am time bound. So these are all ignorances. Why we identify ourselves as a body or a mind? Because of delusion. Because of delusion, we are all deluded. So the words of the master removes this delusion, and it enables us to recognize who we are. We are that already. Tat Tvamasi. You are that. You are that. It's not that when you will know this knowledge, then you will become this. It's not like that. You are already that. When you realize the self, you see that you don't see that I am the self. You don't see this. You see that I was always the self. When you realize the reality of your existence, when you realize the truth of your existence, then you realize that I was always this. Even though at one point I had identified myself as this body or the mind or a form or a name, whatever, I was never that. I was always the self. Tat Tvam Asi. Now you are that. Even if you do not understand this, even if you do not realize this, experience this, still you are that. This is knowledge. This is knowledge. So this knowledge is always within you. The only thing is that when you come to the Master, with the words of the Master, the ignorance, the clouds are gone. The clouds which has covered the sun has gone. The sun then shines bright in the sky. In the same way, when the ignorance is gone, the light of the self shines bright in your heart. And you know that I am this, I am this, I am this. Soham, Soham, Soham. But for this you need to be qualified. And what is the quality that you need? The quality is you need to seek this knowledge. I want to realize it. When you seek this knowledge, then all the other faculties which are needed to realize this self comes. You don't need to bring them. They are also within you. They manifest when you make this firm resolution that I have to know this. When you are firm into this resolution that I want to know myself, the only thing that I want is to realize, to experience who I am. This goal should be the only goal. When this goal becomes the only goal, the solo goal of your life, there are many other goals, and one within them is to know the self. You will never know the self till you have many other goals. You have to have one goal. One goal. So when we go to the Master talks about the unreality of this world, the falseness of this world, the reality of the self. Why? When we listen to the falseness of this world and the reality of ourselves, it helps us to stand firm on this resolution that I want to know this. I want to know this truth only. I don't want to go and I don't want to be, lost into this falseness, into this phenomena. I have been into this phenomena for a long time. I don't want to remain there forever. I want to come out of that. I want to be the real thing. So to be the real thing, you need to know the real existence, and that real existence is nobody but you. You are that real existence. So when you stand firm into this resolution that I want to know this, that is the quality that is needed to realize the self. Okay, so it says that the only quality is this. And if you think that sometime in one point of time of my life I will know this by going to India or by going back to my country at some point, at some time, after this, after that, then you will never be able to realize it. It should be a very, very urgent desire. I want it now. Because we only have this present. We don't have any past. We don't have any future. When you talk about the future, you are again into this realm of Maya. Realm of Maya, realm of ignorance, realm of darkness. When you say that at one point, at this age, I'm going to realize, so you are again into this Maya. But the truth is that the only time that you have with yourself is now. This is the only thing that you have. You have nothing else. You have just this now, this present. So if you need to seek, you have to seek it now. You cannot seek it after 10 years. No. It cannot happen. I need it now. Because I only have this now, this present. This is my only company. This is my only possession. Our only possession in this world is this present. We don't have any other possession. Understand? Is it true? It is true. We don't have any other possession. The only possession that we have is now. तुमको समझ में आ रहा है? अतो विचार कर्तव्यो जिज्ञासुरात्म वस्तुना. Your only duty. What is your duty? Your only duty is to seek.